So Jeff just left me on a total cliffhanger here. His battery died, and so just getting reset up here. So, wow, that was a true cliffhanger. I thought we were gonna have to pick back up at a later time. But you mentioned, so you guys had about a 20-minute conversation when you met Brandy for the first time.
Okay, yeah.
Get me back up to speed here.
So anyway, yeah. So we meet, and I'm like thinking to myself, what the hell just happened? So she leaves, with the group of people. And I think, as I was saying, to this day, I could never identify the other 12 people that were with her. It was like her and me. So I had more groups to meet with, and I can't stop thinking about her. But also I'm having these ambivalent feelings that, guilt. I mean, how can I think this way? I just lost my wife and whatever. So we break for lunch, and I needed to be alone. I mean, I was going through a lot emotionally, as you can imagine. So we broke for lunch, and I had a whole afternoon of these sessions remaining. And so I go to lunch, and I still can't stop thinking about her. So mid-afternoon, Brandy walks back by, and I said to her, hey, Brandy, do you have a business card? Yeah, here's my business card. And I go, great. She walks off, and I'm thinking to myself, well, great, I have a business card, About an hour later, she walks by again. And by now, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I have nothing to lose. And I said, Brandy, I hope you won't find this to be obnoxious, but I'm spending the night here in Chicago, and I have to fly back to New York City first thing in the morning. Would you have dinner with me? Just like that. Without one moment of hesitation, and you'll appreciate this, I'm sure, Brandy goes, okay. I mean, that was not what I expected from her, because women, especially in meeting for the first time, well, I have plans already, or it's, my night to wash my hair, or what. She said, no, yeah. So I'm thinking, okay. And she said, now remember, I told you I don't live out here, because Oak Brook is like the suburbs of Chicago. She said, I live in downtown Chicago. And I said, not a problem. I said, I have a car. I'll make a reservation in downtown Chicago, in thinking, she's young, she's single, she doesn't know who the hell I am from Adam. She'll feel safer. I'll make a reservation. You meet me at the hotel, at the restaurant. And she said, sure. So Emmy had raved about this restaurant called RL, which was Ralph Lauren's first restaurant that he ever opened. And it was in his mansion on Michigan Avenue. So I made a reservation there. And that's where Brandy met me. And we had a 4-hour dinner. And I mean, I think, in retrospect, Brandy and I laughed today, because the fact that she even took a phone call from me again was a big deal, because I was going through a lot emotionally. And I think I just unloaded a lot of baggage during that 4-hour dinner with her. But, and keep in mind, Brandy is 18 years my junior. So
oh, wow.
The fact that she even accepted another phone call from me was amazing. And yeah, so that started a whirlwind romance. And the distance, again, everything, there's a reason for everything. The distance for us was perfect, because she was getting through a bad relationship. I was getting through a loss. And, for us having to date long distance was just the perfect situation for us. And we did. So that was February 13th of 2001. And then what happened September 11th of 2001. 9/11 happened, and Brandy wound up leaving Chicago to move back to Scottsdale to be closer to family. So our, relationship just continued long distance. And eventually, I decided 14 months into this long distance relationship that I wanted to share my life with her. And she always said, when she left Chicago, she said, listen, if you ever have to go back to Chicago, I would love to meet you there. I really miss the city. And I said, sure. So sure enough, I had to be back in Chicago. with Emmy. And I told Brandy, you'll meet me in Chicago and we'll go to the event, whatever. And by this time, this is 14 months into our dating, I decided to take her back to RL, where we had our very first dinner that we hadn't been back to since. And I asked her to marry me over lunch at RL. It's crazy.
What a whirlwind, to your point.
You can't, and Arjan, you can't make this story up. You just can't. I mean, it's, my life has been, we all have interesting lives. I mean, I'm not going to maximize, how interesting my life is against yours. We all have our stories, but, interesting to the point where as I share, some of the intimate details of my life and my career, to where I am today and why we even met, Arjan, is based on how my life path where it's taken me, having met Brandy, who's originally from Los Angeles. She joins me in New York City. And then eventually it was always with the promise, that I would bring her back west. And that's kind of how this East Coast guy wound up on the West Coast.
The best coast.
The best coast, as she likes to say.
It's interesting. I've heard a quote before that that the universe, God, whatever you want to chalk it up to, puts people in your life for a reason. And it's almost totally as if for both you and Brandy dealing with your respective griefs, that you guys had each other as almost a distraction in a way.
Without a doubt.
Leading to the point that now you're living your life together. But just like you said, you can't make this sort of stuff up. It sounds like a Hallmark movie.
Listen, I share this story, with people and it's a pretty special story, I mean, how we met by fate, at two very, very sensitive moments in each of our lives. And, it all worked out. And it's the reason, honestly, it's meeting her is the reason I'm in Los Angeles. And the reason, we finally left New York in 2007. And it was during the financial meltdown of 2007, 2008, the housing bubble crisis, whatever. So when we left New York, I left my career behind, literally left it behind. I knew that my career, because I was by then a vice president of sales with different companies, that didn't exist anywhere but New York City. So now the decision was, where do we go? Do we go to LA, where I had nothing lined up? The other option was Phoenix, Arizona, which is where Brandy went to school and has family there. So we wound up in 2007 moving to Phoenix. I don't talk about it a lot because, to be honest, I hated the 4 years I lived there. I just did not enjoy Phoenix. I visited her while we were dating. It was a lot different staying at a beautiful resort for 3 days, visiting with her, and then going back to New York. But again, the decisions we make move us in the direction we're supposed to be going. And it was actually when I was living in Phoenix that I connected with Omega Watches. I mean, who would have thunk it? So, I joined Omega. That was my first entry into the world of luxury timepieces. And from there, it was Omega that moved us to Los Angeles in 2011. And then, of course, I joined, after my time with Omega, I joined Nespresso, the luxury coffee company, and opened, at that time, the largest flagship in the U.S. for them. And then I find myself back in the world of luxury watches, which I miss so dearly. And actually what brought you and I together with MB&F, opening their first U.S. retail store. And I'm very, very excited to be doing what I'm doing today.
To your point, I mean, that was, back to what you said around everything, all of our decisions move us closer to where we're supposed to be or keep us on a trajectory that we're meant to be on. And it's because of my love of watches and yours that we had the chance to meet out in LA a couple of months ago. Now, to round us out here, can you describe a little bit about MB&F, because it's not a necessarily as well known of a luxury watch brand as some of the others like Omega that you've worked at in the past, but the artwork
Absolutely.
that you wear on your watch is unbelievable. I'd love to get a quick primer for everyone listening.
Sure. Yeah. MB&F started in 2005. It was started by a gentleman named Maximilian Büsser, thus the MB in the name. The F stands for friends. He only wants to work with people he wants to work with. Max had developed an amazing career in the world of luxury watches. He started his career with Jaeger-LeCoultre, and then moved on at the age of 31 to Harry Winston, and actually is considered the person that really got them seriously, Harry Winston, that is, into watches. He won many awards as the head of design for Harry Winston. He helped create the Opus collection, which was the first time, I guess, in the world of luxury timepieces that brands collaborated. He brought brands together to collaborate and started this whole new direction in the industry. In 2005, he was getting a little bit tired of the corporate world and decided to strike out on his own. And with the help of 4 key clients around the world that he visited with his idea, one of which is Westtime, which is who partnered to open this boutique. He started with his first watch, which he delivered in 2007. And from there, the brand has exploded. It's considered a haute horologerie type of collection because the pieces are very limited. His philosophy, which kind of inspired him from the get-go to create MB&F, was that the beauty of every timepiece lies within that timepiece that most people can't see or appreciate. So he has literally designed some of the most incredible, true works of art for the wrist that so happen to tell time. I'm actually wearing the Mad One, which is a whole nother story that he developed in 2021, because during the pandemic, he realized that most of his friends and family can't afford what he designs. The average MB&F timepiece, I would say, is about $150,000 at retail. So he wound up developing this Mad One as something more attainable. And he decided to really offer it to his friends first, friends and family, and then eventually to the rest of the world who was interested. This piece retails for about $3,100 US. But the only way he could do it, he felt fairly, was to do it via lottery. So the very first one he did, he made 400 pieces. He had over 20,000 people wanting to buy the 400 pieces. This one is the red version, which he wound up doing a couple of thousand pieces, but also done on lottery. And then he offered a new color, green, which the lottery closed on September 26th. Over 30,000 people inquired about buying 1,500 pieces of the green. And guess what? I won. I submitted my name. I couldn't believe it. When I received the email congratulating me, I had to read it 5 times before I realized that I actually had won the opportunity of buying the green version. So can't wait to get that. But anyway, I joined them July 15th officially. You and I were very fortunate to have met because in the last month, I have not been able to allow anyone to come in because we're still not officially open yet. But again, there was a reason for us meeting. And luckily we met because hopefully by next week, I'm going to be able to welcome guests in again. And then our grand opening is going to take place November 29th, when Max actually will visit the new location. And I'm very excited about that.
Unbelievable. Now, if you're listening and you're in the LA area, be sure to either reach out to me and I can connect you to Jeff, or stop by the MB&F boutique once it's open on Rodeo Drive. But Jeff, I'm so appreciative of you coming on here, being candid with your the trials and tribulations of your life, the highs and the lows, and it's been really enjoyable to hear about your experiences and incredible R4E stories along the way.
Well, listen, I'll end our conversation this way. I thought about, prior to us having this conversation, how open did I want to be? And I decided at this stage of my life, I wanted to be open. I think my professional life, my personal life has been very interesting. The one message I would leave with you and your viewers is keep the faith. No matter what challenges you might be going through, really look at yourself every day and realize there's a reason for what's happening. We might not know why that is immediately, but I hope at some point in time you'll look back and realize what the reason is. But as long as we keep the faith and we keep moving ahead, good things are destined to happen.
Couldn't agree with you more. Jeff Evans, everybody, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.